Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We're doing our budget goblin or budget kindred series, and we're looking at budget goblins right now. We're starting our second video, which is looking at the strategies, and this is on the sacrifice strategy. Alright, here we go. So, what about goblins, right? First of all, their main color is red. There are three main strategies. I think most creature types have three main strategies, and theirs is token, which is a very common one, damage, and sacrifice. I will be doing a video on each strategy for the goblins coming up. This is on sacrifice, so this is the sacrifice one. Damage, we're actually going to do 2 on because there's direct damage and combat damage. And when I say budget, I mean $2 or less on the TCG market value. That's my reference point. A lot of times you can find things cheaper, but they're not a sponsor, okay? Not a sponsor. They should be, but they're not. Anyway. So honorable mentions, all of these are under 50 cents. Goblin Grenade. Sacrifice a goblin, deal 5 damage to any target. Fireblade Charger, which I think is a great one. When it dies, you can deal its power to any target, including players. So if this dies, you can damage a player. Makes it a hard choice for them. It's kind of worse than Death Touch, I think. And Goblin Fire Leaper, once again, when it dies, it does damage equal to its power to any target. And this one, you can increase its own damage. By paying 1 in a red, you can give it +1 damage. So when it's about to die, you can jack up its power and deal a whole bunch of extra damage to someone. Or a creature if you want. Okay, Fodder Launcher is our first one. Sack a goblin as an additional cost, okay? Target creature gets -5/-5. That's huge. Remember, the main thing about -5 versus 5 damage is indestructible creatures still die to minuses, okay? So this basically ignores the indestructible. They have to have 6 or higher damage, or indestructible with 6 or higher toughness, not damage. Anyway, and the creature's controller also takes 5 damage. So you're doing 5 damage to the controller and damage to the creature. For 3 and a black, it's a little steep, but very worth it. I think, especially if you can like copy it, it would get out of hand very quickly. 24 cents. Cacophony Scamp. I can't say words. But anyway, once again, when this creature dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This is great in a lot of decks. Its second ability is what makes it really stand out versus the other ones. When it dies, proliferate. So it has a proliferate trigger on its death. That's crazy good. 14 cents only for that one. Double death trigger is very unusual as well. So if you're building a deck that's really focused on death triggers, include this guy. Ib Half-Heart Goblin Tactician. This is a kind of a weird one, but yeah, whenever another goblin you control becomes blocked, sacrifice it, and then it deals 4 damage. So it's kind of like Goblin Grenade in a way, but it's for anything that blocks is going to take 4 damage. They gotta have a whole lot of creatures that are actually pretty tough to be able to survive that, alright? I think it makes assigning blockers, it adds a whole extra level to your opponents have to consider, like, is this really worth it? Obviously, major synergy with like the token strategy, because blocking a 1/1 and taking 4 damage and maybe losing a creature, not going to be worth it. The damage is great too, because anything that increases red damage, which there are many effects that do that, that would work for this, right? So you can potentially make that 4 damage into much more damage very easily, which will wipe out most creatures. Even dragons have like 5 usually is kind of the top. But anyway, 14 cents for that one. Goblin Bombardment. Okay, we're into ones. This used to be a pricey card. Okay, this used to cost, and it makes sense. Sacrifice a creature. Again, not a goblin, a creature. Any creature. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. This, if you have tokens and you're like, there's you and one other player left, just sacrifice all your tokens and you probably win. Right there, right? This fits into any kind of token strategy deck. This is amazing. Any deck where you want to be sacrificing, this is amazing, right? This just does so much work and is very flexible. This is probably the card you can put into almost anything and it'd be worthwhile. But anyway, 106 for that one. Again, way down. I'm pretty sure this is $10 at some point. Our number 1, Crime Novelist. This, when it first came out in, Murders at Karlov Manor. I always want to call it Markov Manor because I'm getting my vampire switch, but Karlov. Okay. When this came out, it was, I believe, $3 or more, and then it came way down. So that's another one of these cards where right now the price is down. I don't think it's going to stay down. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on him, which is nice, and add an extra red. Adding the extra red is the part that you care about. Get a deck where you're making lots of treasures, put this guy in, and then your treasures are making 2 tokens instead of 1, and he will become huge, right? If you can get him through, give him an equipment with some kind of evasion or an aura or something, and yeah, that can be a game winner right there. There's so many decks that are good at making treasure tokens that is just, yeah. Again, even the sackable artifacts, we did 2 videos on sackable artifacts that create mana. Using those, a bunch of those, is very useful and pretty easy to cycle them out of your graveyard as well. And yeah, if you're doing that, you're making an extra mana every time. Just nuts, just nuts. Anyway, 156. Oh, please hit like and subscribe. It really does help. If you have any requests for what creature types to cover, I would be very interested to hear it. I think so far we have done changelings, elementals, rats, and we're on goblins now. So this is the 4th one. Very open to suggestions, that's for sure. Anyway, the list. All right, fodder launcher, 24 cents. Very good, especially dealing with indestructible creatures can always be a headache. Maybe you don't want to use your exile effect on that. This is another way. Cacophony Scamp, I almost said it, 14 cents. The proliferate on that, oh boy. Ib Half-Heart, Goblin Tactician. I think this requires more setup than some of the other ones, but if you do have that, it's pretty awesome. Goblin Bombardment, again, you got red and a bunch of tokens. Have this card. You can finish the game so easy with this. Crime Novelist. Okay, the fact that this is even down to 156, I think is ridiculous, but okay. That extra mana from treasures, just so abusable, so easily abusable. But anyway, okay, take it easy.